All right, so I'll start talking about Star Wars, and I guess I should let everyone know that I saw Rise of Skywalker last week. And the night before I went and saw it, I rewatched The Force Awakens, and I rewatched The Last Jedi. I rewatched both of them in one day, and then the next day I went and saw Rise of Skywalker. And I want to warn everyone that I may be spoiling some parts of Rise of Skywalker. So if you don't want anything spoiled, now might be a good time to leave. We are allowed to talk spoilers? Yeah, we're talking spoilers. I want to start off with a positive note about these Star Wars movies. I want to start by giving a shout out, something positive. I want to talk about who I think is the real MVP of the entire Star Wars saga. Someone who I think has had only a positive impact on the Star Wars movies. And he's been credited before. He's been credited a lot, so, whoops. So it's not like this guy's not been recognized, but I think after watching this new trilogy, this guy is hands down the MVP of the Star Wars franchise, cinematic universe, whatever the hell you want to call it, series, saga. And that is John Williams. John Williams and his music. John Williams, arguably the greatest movie composer there ever was. Maybe you could argue Hans Zimmer, maybe. But I think it's definitely John Williams. And I think the work he has done on Star Wars has been... I don't know if they would have even gotten sequels, let alone other trilogies, entire separate trilogies from the original trilogy. You take out John Williams from the equation, I'm not even sure you get an Empire Strikes Back. And I can, I buy the music to all the Star Wars movies, a lot of classics. Duel of Fates is probably the best song of any of them. Whoops. Crap, I should have healed. What am I thinking? But yeah, John Williams is the MVP of the... and the music to these movies is just amazing. And it helps you distract you from the flaws with the movies. That was a tough miss. Don't matter.
Bring your shade.
So that's a positive. So let's talk about Rise of Skywalker. So like I said, I watched the first two of this new trilogy before seeing it. And I couldn't help but wonder, or help but notice, how wasted a lot of these characters were. I feel like there were 3 new characters that were rather unique that were introduced in The Force Awakens. Well, I guess 2 of them. One of them was introduced in The Last Jedi. But I feel like Snoke, Finn, and Rose Tico were 3 new characters who were all unique. In other words, a lot of the characters, I'm not the first to say this, but a lot of these characters, particularly Rey and Poe, even the development of someone like Luke Skywalker, they're kind of knockoffs of other Star Wars characters, right? Rey's supposed to be Luke Skywalker. Poe is supposed to be a combination of Leia and Han Solo. And Finn was just this unique character. He was a traitor. He was a defector of the First Order. Future reference, if I get Empire and First Order mixed up, I apologize, but he defects from the First Order. And it was clear that he recognized what he was doing was wrong. And that could have been, and they really could have developed him really well. This could have been a new character that wasn't, you know, just seen as a knockoff. Could have been seen as a unique take. And I feel like, you know, it made sense. It just seems like throughout the whole trilogy, Finn is constantly getting his wrist grabbed by another character, whether it's Rey or Poe Dameron or Han Solo or Rose Tico, just getting his wrist grabbed and drug along for an adventure. He never really takes initiative until the very end, which I'll get to in a second. But he didn't develop at all in Last Jedi. And even in this new movie, he's just kind of there to just go along and be a convenient addition to the party. Like, oh, I defected from the First Order. I know this about this ship, and I know that about this chain of command or whatever. He's not really a leader, and he never really develops into one until the very end, when it's heavily implied that Finn is sensitive to the Force. When he says, oh, I just have a feeling. Well, where the fuck were your feelings throughout the entire trilogy when you were getting hoodwinked and bamboozled by thieves that you met in a prison cell, right? Where was this feeling when, what other moment? There were other moments where he just wasn't thinking and didn't know what he was doing, yet even in the same movie, he sees a ship leaving and he thinks Chewbacca's on the ship, and he tries to get Rey to bring it back down or whatever, but it turned out Chewbacca was not on that ship. Why couldn't he use the Force to sense Chewbacca when he was on that ship? Yet, at the end of the movie, it suddenly becomes convenient. Oh, I have a feeling. And I guess J.J. Abrams, J.J. Abrams even said in an interview that when Finn was sinking in that quicksand shit on that desert planet, he wanted to tell Rey something, and everyone assumed that it was, oh, Rey, I love you, but I guess according to J.J. Abrams, Finn was supposed to say, I can feel the Force. Another character I feel like was just underdeveloped, not really used. Not really developed was Snoke. Snoke, you know, after the first movie, after The Force Awakens, the two most interesting characters were Rey and Snoke. We didn't know anything about them. There was a lot of speculation. Oh, who's Rey? Is she the... There were a lot of YouTube videos made about this. Is Rey the daughter of Palpatine? Is she the daughter of Han Solo? Is she the daughter of Luke Skywalker? Did Luke Skywalker influence the Midi-chlorians to create life in someone to make Rey? Has Luke been speaking to Rey through the Force? Is that why she has all these dreams of like a big watery planet? What was Rey abandoned by Han and Leia? Is she Han and Leia's secret child, and they stashed her away on some planet so Kylo Ren wouldn't find out about her? A lot of speculation. And the same with Snoke. After the first movie, it's like, who's this Snoke guy? This guy is awesome. This guy is badass. Where did he come from? Was he some rogue Jedi that wasn't killed during Order 66? Kind of like Count Dooku was a rogue Jedi before he turned to the dark side. Did Palpatine secretly train a bunch of Siths and hide them on other planets? Did he have all these? You know, where did this guy come from? And they just kill him in the second movie without really explaining it. Well, in the new movie, Palpatine says that he created Snoke. And even then, it's not clear what he means. What did he create him? Did he give birth to Snoke? Did he create him in a lab? Did he find out about Snoke and find out that he's Force sensitive and train him into a Sith? Like, we don't know anything about Snoke. And on top of that, he was just thrown away in the second movie. And as a result of that, they needed to dig Palpatine up from the grave and bring him back from the dead to say, "Oh, this guy was the bad guy all along. He secretly he created Snoke. He trained. He's the one that's been influencing Kylo Ren this entire time. And on top of that, Big Papa Palp had been laying that pipe because he is the grandfather of Rey. We find out that Rey's a Palpatine. So this was all some master plan from Palpatine, which I didn't really hate that much, but at the same time, it's just like, well, why couldn't they just do this shit with Snoke? Snoke was cool. He was new. He was fresh. I didn't really want to watch these movies to see Palpatine brought back from the dead and say, "Oh, well, he was the bad guy all along." It's kind of like the old Superman movies, how they just kept bringing back Lex Luthor. They just got to keep bringing back Palpatine. Why? You can't create any good, intriguing bad guys on your own? Oof, don't want to go there. That's level 45. I'd get annihilated. Probably should have healed my characters.
You won't feel a thing.
You won't feel a thing. And you could say that about Han and Luke and Leia, but I feel like it's different with them because they were introduced right away in The Force Awakens, and it was clear that their characters were developed. Like, it's clear that all three of those characters are much different in The Force Awakens than from Return of the Jedi. Leia is older and a little more wiser. She's not as much of she's not as feisty.
That'll do her.
She's the general of the rebellion, of the resistance. Han Solo comes around. He kind of admits that the Force is real, and he kind of reverted back to his old ways, but he was more enlightened, I guess, for lack of better terms. And I think it was the idea, at least what I got from it in The Force Awakens, the old characters like Luke, Han, and Leia, they were brought in to pass the torch, to throw the car keys to these newer characters like Finn and Poe and Rey. That's what they were there for. They were kind of passing the torch on to the new generation of the Resistance. That kind of made sense. Now, we can talk about whether or not it was done good or right or whatever. Whereas Palpatine, it just seemed like they brought him back because they didn't know what the fuck to do after they killed Snoke. And, although part of me does like the fact that Kylo Ren turned on Snoke to become Supreme Leader, but then they have to bring Palpatine back because why? Kylo Ren isn't a good enough villain to be Supreme Leader yet? You couldn't just keep Snoke in the picture and have him be the final boss? Now, what they should have done instead, I don't know. I'm not a story writer. And I'm not really interested in, talking about what they should have done. It's just that I found that the reliance on Palpatine was just an easy way out. And I think in the long run, it's not going to be as rewatchable. Like, if you want to watch Palpatine kick everyone's ass, why wouldn't you watch the prequels or the original trilogy? Now it's, this new trilogy, Palpatine's the bad guy again, guys. You thought it was going to be Kylo Ren. You thought it was going to be Snoke, this mysterious Snoke that we still don't know much about. But no. It's actually going to be Palpatine again. Let's, But even though Finn was a former stormtrooper who turned against the First Order, I thought he was the Han Solo stand-in. But Snoke is the stand-in for it. Yeah, he was. And I thought he was really interesting. He could have been something new. Maybe he could have been even... He never seemed as well thought out as Palpatine, but he seemed to be more forceful. And in a way, he seemed more evil for some reason. That I can't. Maybe it's just the way he looked. But that's another thing, is that Snoke was really fucking powerful. How did he learn all these powers? You know, it's pretty clear that, you know, in order to become a master of the Force, it takes years and years of experience and practice and discipline. So Snoke has had to have not only been around for a while, but he's had to been involved. He's had to have had some sort of training, unless he discovered all that stuff on his own, which would be even more impressive because even Palpatine had to be trained by Darth Plagueis the Wise. Snoke is the new Emperor. Rian Johnson. So I didn't know this. Killing off Snoke was a departure of what J.J. Abrams wanted. J.J. Abrams said Rian Johnson fucked him and had to find a way to sell it. I mean, if that's the case, I'm not really interested over. Maybe I should be more interested, but I'm just dealing with what is. And maybe, maybe Snoke was meant to stick around. So Rian Johnson should be ashamed of himself for screwing J.J. Abrams and messing up a fresh Star Wars tale. And then I will do double fire, and you're fired. Oh, whoops! It was the sword that weakened him. Oh well. That was the dagger. What next? I don't know why I'm intimidated by this bush. That's what he said. What else happened in Rise of Skywalker? I'll talk about some more things that I liked. I liked some of the twists. I liked that General Hux betrayed Kylo Ren. It made sense. It was clear that there was tension between the two at the end of Last Jedi. It was clear that Hux was starting to become suspicious of Kylo Ren. So I did like that aspect, I must say. Moonlight Waltz. Barely did anything. I need a sword. Also, this might sound like a cop-out, and I understand why some people get tired of hearing this. But the visuals and the action in these new movies are just amazing. And I understand why some people might think that that's a cop-out of an argument, because it probably is often used by people who apologize for bad Star Wars movies or flaws with Star Wars movies, like, oh, the action was good. But the action and the visuals were just amazing. You gotta... I still enjoy watching the action sequences from these newer movies, including the Battle of Crates.
What next?
Yes, good night.
Thou didst fight with courage.
I thought the battle, the confrontation with Snoke, where Kylo Ren betrays him and Rey and Kylo Ren have to fight their way out of Snoke's chamber, I thought that was fun to watch. A lot of these scenes are just fun to watch, even if the plots and the characters are incredibly flawed. Poe Dameron's probably my favorite character, and this is why I think Poe is the reincarnation of Han Solo. Not reincarnation, but repackaging of Han Solo. Stewart said it was that Finn was the repackaging of Han Solo. Poe Dameron says toward the end, like, you know, he's kind of pushy on Rey, like, and he thinks this whole finding of the Sith tracker is kind of a waste of time, and he doesn't get it. Poe doesn't get the Force. He doesn't really believe in it. He thinks it's stupid, and that's how Han acted. And Poe Dameron, it's revealed that his career before joining the Resistance was he was a spice runner. So he's the master pilot who used to have a career in shipping and cargo, and that's what Han Solo did. And Han Solo was a skeptic of the Force, much like Poe Dameron is in the newer movies. Also, BB-8's clearly a repackaging of R2-D2. The battle between Rey and Kylo Ren on that in front of all the water looks amazing, and I felt like I don't know if this was intentional, but I felt like it was a nod at the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin in Episode 3 when the lava is like pumping out all around them. It looked just like that, but instead of lava, it was water. But I thought that was the appeal of the movies in the first place, the spectacle, yeah. And back to Palpatine, he just seemed way too powerful at the end, the way, now he can bring down all these ships just by shooting lightning out of his fingers. Like, he didn't have this power before. I should also mention, yeah, they killed off Luke in the second one. Is that another way Rian Johnson screwed over J.J. Abrams? Because they still could have done a lot with Luke as well. If they had not killed him. I mean, they killed his character and his legacy and everything, but I just mean, like, had they kept Luke alive, he still could have done stuff in Rise of Sky. Him and Snoke, I don't know. Just seemed like a lot of wasted opportunities in this new trilogy. And I think in the long run, it's not going to be remembered too fondly. It's just going to be remembered as this attempt to recreate Star Wars that was stonewalled with the second movie and the decisions of Rian Johnson, where the third one, they had to bring Emperor Palpatine back from the dead and play it safe to try and salvage what was left of this trilogy.